Hello, and this is vlog number 2.1 for AP Seminar. And this week, to recap, uh, obviously the first vlog of the second quarter, and going back to Tuesday, the day after the Monday we had off for the end of the first quarter. Yeah, I want to first talk about the activity we had on correcting questions, and I really like that activity because you were able to collaborate with two other people, and with in that activity were given guidelines what makes a good question. It can't be too broad, can't be too narrow, has to be just the right size, and it has to be a question that isn't overtly biased to one side, and it has to be a type of question which is gonna interest us, right? And then in that activity where we went around the class correcting the bad questions there, I really liked it, and I especially liked the one that talked about the education part, on how education systems are bad in Latin American countries, and how our group, with me and Lanuka and Carolina, I think, we came up with a question that dealt with gender bias in many of those countries. How in many of those countries, women are primarily meant to hold a more orthodox role and to stay at home. And unlike most of the Western countries, where men and women are pretty much seemed equal in terms of opportunities, and which kind of directly led to our annotated bibliography, which in the beginning I had some issues with because the hard part for me was trying to come up with a question. And ultimately, I came up with a question which dealt with to what extent does to what extent does prolonged social media use affect a student's academics. And for this one, I personally did a study myself. I took a break from social media for 2 weeks, and then I compared my screen time, compared to all the work I got done, compared to what it was before. And when I took away all the social media off my phone, my average screen time was like 54 minutes a day, compared to before, which was like an hour and 50 or close to 2 hours. And most of it was mainly, social media platforms. And once I took that away, there wasn't anything else for me to look other than music and sports apps. But yeah, I find that study to be very accurate. I did that on myself, and then I'm going to look for articles that support my idea. And me personally, from the articles we use on the Socratic seminars, I use the Cal Newport TED Talk, and I really like that TED Talk. I mean, not because just like he's a great looking guy and then he's a computer scientist, not just that. It's just the way he talks. It's very convincing to a person. And then I found another TED Talk about another professor at one of the colleges, and then she was also talking about the psychological impacts, and then how the curated content that many people post, what kind of effect that has on communities and other and your peers, essentially. Because and I remember that speaker once said that you don't put pictures of yourself drowning in work. Like, no, who wants that? No, you just put a perfect picture of you in a beach, in the most perfect setting to amplify your life. And I feel like that's very true because I mean, me personally, I don't post a lot, right? But when I see my friends who post like every day or whatever, it's like, how do I say this? It's like the most unnatural things that I see them posting. I know them personally, and I know like that's not what's going on every day. It could be like a Tuesday midweek, and then you're at Halloween Horror Nights, and then everything's good, even though you have like what, 5 C's, 300 missing assignments or whatnot. So, it's what's the point? And I feel like this question is really putting me up in a good path. Like, I have three sources right now, and they have really good information, and they're backed up by such great sources. Like, you have professors from Iran talking about the impact on Twitter among their university students, and this other high school doing a study on the grades of their students based on the amount of time they spend on social media sites a day. And I feel like all these studies essentially are trying to convey one fact, is that although social media does have its pros among students, it's one of the major downgrades among students. Like, it's severely doing some harm. And this this question is what interests me, and it's gonna interest me even more. And then it's gonna also help me in the debate we're gonna have in Lang about what it means to be educated, and then I can pull up some random statistic I learned while doing this research, which is going to give me an edge over my classmates. So yes, that's one thing I'm really excited for. And like you mentioned earlier this week, we're gonna have our mini mock of task two in the coming weeks, which is also something that to look forward to. After the debate we had with Andrew in the PSAT day, I feel like I'm much more confident in arguing about a certain point, and I'm not as scared as I was before. So yeah, that's basically the reflection of the week, and nothing much. This upcoming week's pretty big week for me. I have districts for swimming, and it's like I would say one of the last meets of the season, and that's something I'm working up to, and I hope to do good on it. So yeah, that's the week. That's what's ahead. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.